Good. Starting to get a few tuning now, guys. So I know sweating much. So yeah, I'll dive in. We'll talk about what's going on in the markets. I'll take some questions at the end if you like. As I said, please hit that like button. Please share this around. I want to answer all these questions. I know you guys sometimes like just to hear my thoughts, what I think's going on, what the charts are doing. A lot of people are waiting now for this, the Senate hearing that's happening at 2 a.m. Australian time. So that's what's that? 7 hours from now, I believe. And we have seen some, I guess, reports come out about what may be spoken about. And to be honest, this is, depending on your time frame, yeah, maybe this does count as a bear market now, guys. So the correction, this is a tweet I put out the other day, guys. It's Elliott wave theory is another useful tool. Just one tool, as always, that we try to use to help formulate our opinion on where prices may be heading. And this 5-wave correction and my cycle brackets ends on the 7th of February. So we're now down here after I tweeted this yesterday, down below 6,000. So maybe this is just something else, but I'm certainly looking for that climax of emotion. So look, this is the updated chart now. I've added some of these moving averages that I don't always like to use, but certainly once we lost the 200-day moving average, we did get this free fall as well, which a lot of people were looking at. And what's really surprised me, guys, before I talk about my thoughts on where we are at the moment, what's really surprised me is that everyone actually, at one stage when this correction started, everyone wanted 7 or 8,000, and that was the kind of predictions. This was quite a strong bounce here, and we've made a couple of trades along the way, believe it or not, to the upside, and made some profitable trades. But everyone wanted it to get lower, and my honest opinion was that we weren't going to get down to 7,000 because that's what everyone wanted. And when everyone wants something, it tends not to be that easy. But yet here we are, we're down around these levels, and all of a sudden, this is really the first time where I've literally... So guys, just quickly, someone's saying, is the SEC meeting postponed? So no, that's a separate meeting, a separate agenda. So there's 2 meetings now. This one is the one of the most importance and the one that everyone's been talking about. So we'll just clear that up to begin with. So this is the first time, guys. Obviously, I've only developed my following and stuff in the past few months, but this is the first day where I've literally received hundreds and hundreds of messages saying, what is going on? Is Bitcoin over? Are you selling? Do you still believe in those projects you've covered? And on the channel, I've made a point of only covering what I believe are the most premium projects. So I don't do an ICO review for, a lot of channels cover as many as they possibly can, and a lot of people, do get paid for those. So let's just change from my Heiken Ashi trend candles back to normal candles here. So yeah, and the fact is that my personal portfolio, at the start of last year, I spoke about having a heavy weighting in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. They performed extremely well. And this year, I've sort of changed a bit. So I've made Ethereum my biggest holding. And yes, Ethereum has taken a bit of a battering as well. But up until recently, Ethereum held up a lot better than the rest of the market. And definitely the premium projects I've covered held up a lot better than the market in general. So some of those ICOs that don't yet have working products are now down well over 90%. And some of those that hit those markets at big profits are now back down to ICO price. So guys, I did tweet out today that Funfair was probably one of my biggest on my bargain radar right now. So Funfair got delisted from Bittrex. It wasn't anything to do with bad trading volume or anything like that. So Bittrex are going down the path of having USD, actual USD rather than Tether, and cleaning up their coins that they offer in terms of what is a security in those coins that pay out dividends, gambling related coins like Funfair. So they've just got to clear up in terms of what they can list. So again, that just presents opportunity, and Funfair's on a number of exchanges. You know, Bitfinex is the #1 trading exchange in the world. It's got Funfair. So, you know, Binance has got Funfair. There's so many easy ways you can get your hands on Funfair. I'm not fussed, but again, I think it's probably another reason that this coin has been really kicked while it's down. Man, it got below 3 cents today, guys. I don't want to talk about Funfair too much. You know, I don't like to ever pump one project. There's a number of awesome projects now, guys. ZeroX, NEM, Neo. Wow, I mean, Neo was $180 the other day. Basically, everything is on sale now, guys. So you're very lucky that you have the opportunity to reshuffle your portfolio. So I can't believe a lot of people thought they'd completely missed the boat when I did my top 10 underrated coins, and a few of those had already had a huge run, 200 or 300% just in a matter of days or weeks. And now, but everything's back to where it was, if not lower even for some of those projects. So guys, I know it sucks. I know it feels like the world is ending, but I'll talk about my thoughts now. So here's the title. You know, Bitcoin plunges to $7,000. It's obviously since plunged another $1,000 since this article that's less than 24 hours old. You know, we'll talk about what to expect from this hearing, but let's just keep in mind that traditional markets are having an absolute bloodbath today. So the Dow down 1,100 points. The number of products, and these markets now, I'll probably talk about this more at length in the future, guys, but these markets are so over leveraged. We talk about products on top of products. You know, there's so much. It's all good when people are on one side of the boat. So people that all fund into these ETFs, when there's only buyers, we can happily sell our shares. But when we've got inverse ETFs, you know, baskets of different you know, industry ETFs, and once we start to sell, the reality is there's not a lot of buyers coming in, and we don't really know what fair value is for a lot of these leverage products. So here we see today, you know, the VIX absolutely exploded. So for those that don't know, the VIX is the volatility index. Now that is basically, in a nutshell, a measure of what the market expects, you know, the range of volatility to be. So if the VIX is at 10%, it basically means the market is saying within one standard deviation, in the next 12 months, we don't expect to be more than 10% to the downside or 10% to the upside. So it sort of gives you a range within one standard deviation. Now, the markets at one stage, the VIX here got down to as low as 9. So the markets were saying we don't expect more than a 9% range up or down in the next year, and that is just absolutely insane, guys. We have 9% moves in an hour, in a minute in crypto, and yet the smartest minds in the world apparently are pricing the chance of a move in the next 12 months at 9%. Now, obviously, the rubber hit the road, one of my favorite sayings. Reality check slapped a lot of people in the face, and the VIX has now spiked to 37. So that's saying that in the next 12 months, the market's trying to price in the chance of a 37% correction, or, you know, maybe 37% to the upside, but it's just giving you that range. So a lot of these products now absolutely went insane, and as I said, when everyone's on one side of the boat, it can get very nasty very quick. So this is an inverse ETF. So when the VIX spikes and volatility goes up, this product makes money for those. It basically goes down the other direction. So this moved 90% in one day. So the price crashed from $100 down to $10. You know, this article here, volatility finally broke the market. As I said, all these things that are built off volatility products, you know, termination begins. So a volatility. Announcing early redemption of an exchange traded note, so a volatility product that they're sort of, you know, having to scrap, because all these things work when the market's, you know, steadily going up 1%, everyone's buying, everyone's happy, and guys, it is very clear that there's absolute chaos in some certain products. People getting margin calls. Now, again, I don't like to put on my tinfoil hat, but whether or not this is spilling over into the crypto market and adding to that negative sentiment, you know, maybe that's something else that we need to consider. So guys, that's just a quick explanation on what the VIX index is, because I did trade a lot of VIX options before I got into cryptocurrency. So those markets, I'm used to volatility, and that's certainly something that has helped me no end with cryptocurrency. So world markets are seeing a bloodbath. That's how the VIX works. In this world of leverage, products built off other products, things can get very messy very quickly. So let's just see how big this stock market correction is. I definitely started off my journey in the world of investing going down that conspiracy theory rabbit hole where everyone was saying the market's going to crash, and every year there's a video and people on YouTube trying to crash in. They call it fear porn. So people love to be told that the world's going to end. And after a few years and that sort of thing, and I got into precious metals, it became very clear to me that you can't live your life like that in fear, worrying that something bad is around the corner. So yes, we're aware of it. We keep our eyes and ears open to all opinions, but I don't think that we're going to have a huge world-ending market crash. Central banks, no matter how insane, whatever they have to do, they're going to print money and do stupid things, but they're going to do something to keep these markets afloat at some point. And again, it's going to distort everything. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be more money sloshing around the world. Some of that's going to flow into crypto eventually, but I just don't think that the powers that be are ever going to let this go to a pitchforks in the street, complete, everyone that's losing their pensions and their retirement. The powers that be just don't want to let that happen. So I know there's no such thing as free markets anymore, guys. Everything from micro trading, watch that documentary Flash Boys about people that make money front running trading and trading thousands of trades per second. These markets are so fake. There's nothing real anymore. Investing used to be about who can do research and fundamentals and find the best investments for long term. These markets are so rigged. No wonder no one wants to participate in them. Let's hope that crypto stays a little bit better and more free market style than that. And that probably leads us into what we can expect from the CFTC, SEC chiefs talking with Congress tonight. So again, we've seen China, South Korea, Japan to some extent, different countries take different stances. What have we said 100 times? At the end of the day, it's good. We want frameworks to work within, okay? So legislation means legitimacy. Now, obviously, we don't want the overarching, power of the law to get in the way of innovation and progress. And I think the US is going to be very wary of that. Same with China, okay? So in Australia, we've had some reasonably friendly innovation. I had a meeting only today with some Tasmanian government officials. We want to become that test bed of Australia. Why not the world? So everyone wants that money. Everyone wants that innovation in their state or their country, okay? So I know people are fearful of people just stamping out crypto and saying it's going to be illegal and whatnot. I just don't see that as an option. If that is to happen, then maybe Bitcoin continues lower. Now, I don't think it's going to be a huge move back to $1,000. I think that's just ridiculous to say that we go that low. Let's keep in mind that only 12 months ago we were at 1,000, so we're still up absolutely huge compared to stock markets or any other investment in the world. We're still sitting on huge returns. Now, obviously, if you've only got into this in the last few months or the last few weeks, it's painful. I know it sucks, but I want to talk about what I've gone through in the past 6 years in those markets now as well. So basically, the long and short of it, as far as regulation is concerned, I don't expect fireworks. I don't expect anything to really surprise and scare the markets. I think it's going to be relief. Once the information is out, I'll be looking for a live stream to watch this live. Once the headlines come out tomorrow, I just think the market is looking for some excuse to start an uptrend or to finish this downtrend at least. It needs that emotional relief. So you guys know that I believe sentiment drives markets, and this could be the excuse the market has been looking for, to have that relief, that breath of fresh air, that sigh, and just we can start a new trend and really reset that human emotion, because there's no doubt that those hundreds of messages that I got today for people that are genuinely scared about whether or not crypto and Bitcoin are dead, to me, this is probably worse than the previous large corrections. I've, walked people through live on YouTube during the China FUD. I honestly think that this is probably worse, the point that we're at now. And certainly I remember very clearly, let's just have a look at the price of Ethereum here. So this is the correction that this is where I first started doing YouTube back in June, July. And a lot of people got into Ethereum here. Now, this correction here, I was sort of saying, I see this as, I really didn't think we were going to get lower than here. But this is the difference between trading and margin trading and investing long term. Now, I was saying to people, around here at $180, I said I think that was the low for Ethereum. I just think that anything below that would be ridiculously cheap if we're taking a longer term view. Now, we got that strong bounce. If you haven't been margin trading, you've just shot yourself in the foot. You may have probably got margin called and whatnot. But if you're buying this for the long term and you got in at $180, is it really that bad if we had another spike down lower for a couple of days? And not many people got the opportunity to buy down here with this week that got down into $150 and a bit below. But markets can surprise you to the downside. We know these markets are in their infancy. They don't have those stabilizing mechanisms, okay? They overshoot to the upside and they overshoot to the downside. Now, this is certainly more emotional and more of an overshoot to the downside, in my opinion, to what the fair value of Bitcoin currently is. Now, all those people here, do they care if they bought at 200, 250, 150? Look, I was saying take a long-term perspective, and that's my exact message now. All those people are sitting at a huge profit. They've at least doubled their money. Doesn't matter when you got in. Take a long-term perspective. The coins in my portfolio and the coins I've covered on the channel, ask yourself if they are products that you believe are using blockchain technology to change individual sectors, individual industries, improve people's lives, make the world a better place. Why are they down 80 or 90% just because Bitcoin is down? It's illogical, it's irrational, these markets are having a tantrum. Just tell yourself that. I don't like to check my portfolio on days like today as much as you guys do. So my key messages along the way were always lock in 10 or 20% of profits, your initial investment, whatever that is. Your mindset is completely different when you've got fiat on the sidelines. Now, guys, I know a lot of you are in the same boat as me now, where I've outlaid all my capital that I'm happy to pour into the markets for long-term positions. So dollar cost averaging on the way down, you guys know that I said that I was buying more here and that I was backing the truck up and putting my final amount of money today into Funfair. Now, that's just what I'm doing personally. Not financial advice, guys. Always do your own research. But I'm taking a longer term mindset that I believe the fair value of every coin in my portfolio is a lot higher. And when they start to have, rolling out their updates and more working products and penning deals with real world companies, starting to see cash flow, okay, all those things that are in the next 12 months, 24 months, I just believe it's an absolute no-brainer that those projects are going to have a far higher value that is going to be determined by the market than currently, when everyone has this sky is falling, sentiment is negative type attitude. Now, the other day I mentioned the top 100 Bitcoin addresses. So this is bitinfocharts.com. The top 100 Bitcoin addresses are very rarely active, okay? So a lot of the time you won't see any transactions in or out of them at all. Now these guys have been accumulating. So some of these are exchanges. So you'll see here Bitfinex cold wallets and a couple of wallets here for known exchanges. But a lot of these are early adopters, guys. They're not selling, they're not panicking, they are buying more. Now that is what is completely known as smart money, okay? People that are buying off dumb money. So people that panicked. How many of your friends and family might have finally said, oh, I'll bite the bullet and buy some Bitcoin over crypto Christmas. And then it's, this is a correction that is testing you. Now, making money is not easy. Now, how many people got into Bitcoin early days? I know people that have spoken, you know, even in Australia that said they got into Bitcoin at $2, then sold at $4. Now they are not true Bitcoin believers. They did not understand the technology. They didn't believe in it long term if they sold at $4 because they bought at $2. Now I have not sold Bitcoin and Ethereum that I got into, guys. I believe in this. You know, this is my life now, okay? I'm not selling though. That's my message. I can only tell you what I'm doing. So every year there's been a 50 to 90% correction. I've said that so many times, and people don't believe you, or they say yeah. And one of my messages has been, prepare yourself mentally for that volatility. You've got to be prepared to lose 50 to 90% of your portfolio in the short term if you're taking a longer term perspective. And it tends to be the more volatile products, you know, risk to reward. Guys, you have to have that mindset, okay? So every year I've been in crypto, there's been a 50 to 90% correction. Now at the moment, you know, from Bitcoin touching 20,000, we're down 70%. So, you know, 80% would put us at around 4,000, and then 90% would put us, you know, back at around 2,000. Now, I don't think that's on the cards unless there's some absolutely horrific, gut-wrenchingly bad news come out of the US. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, okay, they are different things. So that's the first thing. We have to remember that we are investing in individual projects. So just take that mindset, guys. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. But the fact that everything is getting dragged down by Bitcoin just shows you again that these markets are so far off mass adoption, mass use in our everyday lives. There's so far off institutional money, you know, being involved. All those things that just show you the growth potential that lays in front of us. And making money isn't easy. You'll hear those stories about people that got into it and they were weak hands. They sold along the way. Very few people have held the entire time. Okay, we hear Andreas Antonopoulos, some of the biggest people in the space, that said they had to sell Bitcoin along the way. And it's just another quote, you know, making money and investing is about transferring money from the impatient to the patient. And guys, certainly sitting on my hands and being patient and doing nothing, I know it is tempting. So we put on a margin trade the other day and we did make a profit, guys, in IOTA. I tend to look down my list on whatever's got the most red, and I'm looking for that when I'm looking for bounce plays on shorter term time frames. But not getting greedy and not putting in huge margin trades and getting liquidated. And when there's blood in the streets, dollar cost averaging, set and forget, come back and check it later. If you've got huge margin trades on, you are stressed, okay? It's changing your behavior, your sleep patterns. Nobody knows where the bottom is exactly. You know, we can get flushes lower as everyone gets those margin calls. So don't try and be that guy that picks the bottom to the dollar. You'll be very happy being more of an investor and thinking long term than trying to do huge margin trades, and that's where people get in trouble. So guys, I hope this is all making sense. There's been some fantastic news lately. You know, Coinbase, unfortunately, certain banks and credit cards are blocking your use of how you spend your own money. You know, this is very upsetting for me to see stuff like this. But on a positive note, Coinbase has begun implementing, you know, SegWit. So Bitcoin fees are going to get cheaper, transactions will be faster. I don't know the exact percentage of transactions that Coinbase are responsible for, but they are sending a lot of transactions internally on the blockchain as well. So this is going to make a huge difference, hopefully to the memory pool of Bitcoin transactions. So Lightning Network nodes continue to increase. I did a video during the week with half a dozen absolutely huge positive news articles. We've seen, you know, Taipei and talk about IOTA, you know, Litecoin having all those new payment facility options, Bitcoin having more and more SegWit and Lightning nodes. Okay, so there's so much good stuff happening in this space. You know that I've been speaking for weeks and months about institutional money that wants in. So personally, we have now put in all our funds into some of the investment funds that I'm involved in, we are so happy that we get to get in these levels. We were looking at having to put money into things when they were up 1,000%. Do you think that we're not more comfortable now putting in money into funds for our clients at 90% profit, 90% discount for some of our favorite coins? So guys, all I can do again is tell you what I'm doing. If you haven't put in more money than you're willing to lose and acknowledge that this space is risky, then you shouldn't be, losing sleep and that sort of thing. Okay, so guys, I'll take some questions now. Bitcoin is still going to be a tremendous store of value, guys. Cryptocurrency and blockchain projects are not going anywhere. They're going to be a huge part of our lives going forwards. That is what is helping me get through the day. Someone said to me today, are you worried? Are you hiding? There's lots of YouTubers that aren't doing, videos at the moment. And my message was, I've already done 2 videos this week, one with Charting Man Dan and one with Trader Cobb, where we've spoken about what we think the market is, and I've been able to pick their technical analysis and trading style brains. You guys know that I'm hopefully that you're enjoying this video. Please hit that like button if you are enjoying this. I don't like to necessarily do these videos where it's just sort of holding your hand as such. I really wanted to do a video about Maker and DAI. That I think this stable coin is going to be way bigger than anyone can imagine. Now, you don't invest in DAI. I'm not pumping up something that stays at $1, but I think this is going to be an absolutely huge part of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. But they're actually creating possibly the most stable currency in the world. Okay, so I just don't think people realize the potential of Maker and DAI. And there's a lot of confusion. So that was my video I had planned for tonight. Hopefully the markets recover after we get these SEC news. So guys, I'll take some questions now. So a lot of people just telling me the coins they've bought and that they're at red. So you can step away from the market and take a longer term view. If that's what you initially invested for, then if you had that view initially that you're buying to take, profits in a year or 5 years, why are you beating yourself up now, a few weeks after you bought it? So would you sell at a loss? Guys, everything is down. If you want to reshuffle your portfolio, I do one-on-ones for people. If you want to hit me up on the Nuggets News Facebook page. But guys, reshuffle your portfolio and it is a great feeling. You're going to get a better night's sleep. Everything's on discount. Good projects will bounce back more than bad projects once we have a bounce. What's going to lead the change going forward? Lead the charge. So I think all the markets will recover in lockstep. I don't see a situation where Bitcoin snaps back and alts all don't recover. I think the good quality projects will recover in percentage terms just as much, if not more, than Bitcoin, because they're down so much. So Bitcoin's down 70%, we just measured. Some of our best projects are down 80 or 90%. So where do I think Bitcoin will be at the end of the year? Depends. If we get really good uptake of SegWit addresses and Lightning nodes, and we get good news such as Bitcoin ETFs, yes, I definitely think we surpassed the all-time high, so much higher than $20,000. I don't like to give price predictions, but I don't think that this is a bubble that has burst as everyone is making it out to be. So the total market cap of all crypto is now down in the 200 billions. And guys, there's so many companies around the world that are very one-dimensional, that are worth that much money. Think about how many people are pouring blood, sweat and tears, pouring their soul into this technological innovation, and that's all part of that cryptocurrency total market cap. The value of what they're doing is so much more than $200 billion or one stock market listed company. Okay, that's my opinion. So INS World, guys, I got in on that ICO and I sold on day one for 1,100% profit, and I did buy some back recently. I like INS long term. This is an absolute crash. Yeah, this is a bear market, but again, if you're taking a really longer term perspective, on the weekly charts, we're still in a bull market. We're $1,000 last year. We're sitting at $6,000. That's still going up on the longer term time frames. Satoshi's coins. This isn't your normal retracement. So yeah, guys, anything again, it depends on your time frame, and this is one of the deepest corrections we've had recently. But as I said, I've been in Bitcoin for 6 years. Every year we've had a 50 to 90% correction. So would you say that Bitcoin hasn't been in a bull market for the past 6 years? I would say yes, it has. It's been in a bull market with 50 to 90% corrections. Now this is a 70% correction. If we can continue higher and make new highs, this is just another correction in a bull market. So it just depends on your time frame, guys, for saying, is this a bear market? So I've already discussed Bittrex delisting Funfair. The bubble is bursting, all your coins are dying. So there's still plenty of people out there that don't believe in this, and they're just people that are yet to be converted, in my opinion, guys, to be 100% honest with you. You guys know that I've already converted a few prominent figures, a few higher ups. I think we're going to only continue to see more and more people get converted. Not many people read about blockchain technology and quality projects and say, hey, there's nothing to see here. This is all just, a bubble. So everyone's feeling stressed. Yeah, I know, guys. Unfortunately, things take a while to go down, so we can't just go up higher. Investing isn't that easy. It was nice when your blockfolio was going up basically every day for 6 months and everyone thought that this was so easy, but there was times when I was in the markets where it went sideways for a year. Now I don't see that happening. I think there's too much innovation in this space for us to go sideways for a long period of time, unless we had some really catastrophic bad news. I just think that people are going to move to the countries and the tax havens and anywhere that's favourable to innovation. These days with a good internet connection, you can work from anywhere, set up your camp and register your business in whatever jurisdiction is most favourable. So there's just so many ways to get around it. VPNs, if they ban in a certain country, we've seen in China. So yeah. Spoken about Hashgraph a little bit in the past. Again, people are going to stick with whatever projects they've been pouring their blood, sweat and tears into. So guys, yeah, quality Australian projects are on sale just like everything else. For those of you in Australia, I'll be speaking in Sydney. I'll post that on Twitter soon, guys. But for now, that's my thoughts. I think we're going to get some clarity from the SEC meeting. I think we're going to get some emotional relief for clearly it's people that are just over emotional are selling, because if we look at the charts, volume's actually been quite low. So, only the weak hands have been selling. The majority of people, the strong hands that bought early, the volume here, volume on the way up, a lot of those people haven't sold. So there was actually very few people, very low volume, actually causing the crash. We just haven't had enough buyers stepping in until now. We've really seen a spike in volume. The past 2 days, there's, 16 hours left in today's candle. So this is going to be a huge candle. This is most likely going to be the biggest daily candle we have seen possibly ever. And if that's the case, here we go here. So I'm not sure if this data is accurate, what day this was here, but if that's accurate, that's way back in 2015. So if this is right, guys, this could be the biggest volume day, ever, or since 2015. That to me would mark the bottom, okay, if that's the case. So yes, I know it sucks. Yes, we've lost all the moving averages. We've gone past the longer term trend lines we thought would act as support. We need that real blood in the street, people to give up, everyone to think that the world is ending. I think we've reached that today, guys, from the hundreds of messages I received this is the capitulation. Just be patient. I'm sure we'll all look back in a month's time, hopefully only a week's time, hopefully a couple of days' time, and go, oh, thank God that was it. That was the relief we got. We got some positive news from the SEC hearing. Or even neutral news now, I believe, would be enough to give the market a relief, or just stop being scared of what the unknown. So that's my opinion, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video around, and as always, thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.